Every Maine business adds value to our state. Diversity adds strength and beauty to our communities. We each have different journeys with a common goal: to prosper and contribute to a vibrant, thriving future in Maine, all to help strengthen the economy. Greenlight Maine and Bangor Savings Bank present Elevating Voices, a celebration of Maine's diverse business community.
Welcome to Elevating Voices. We're back for Season 3 to share the stories of diverse business owners throughout Maine and how they contribute to our economy, both socially and economically. We're starting in downtown Portland to share the story of a powerhouse woman who focuses on hope and recovery instead of stigma and addiction. The pages of Journey magazine are beautiful, filled with inspirational stories and happy faces. It's an uplifting magazine, bringing stories of hope for people with substance use disorder. Publisher Carolyn Delaney is in remission herself and willingly shares her story. Carolyn's own journey began in 1993 when she entered Macaulay residence in Portland. That's where she found housing and gained skills to embrace recovery. Carolyn, it is so good to be with you here today. And when we asked you to do this interview, you immediately chose Macaulay residence. Why did you choose this place?
There's nothing like Macaulay in the country. And at the time, it didn't exist either for a woman like me to get her kids back in an environment that was safe, nurturing, that gave me the soil so that I could grow and thrive. And if it wasn't for Macaulay, I wouldn't be here today.
Do you think a lot of people are afraid to go into a program like this? And what advice would you give them?
I wish there were 10 more Macaulays, because even the amazing program that's done here, it's really only for 15 mamas. Plus Bangor's got, I think, 12, but there's not a lot of opportunity available. So for the mamas that do get into Macaulay residence, please listen to me. Let them help you. Listen to everything they say. Do what you're told. Like, it's an opportunity that comes once in a lifetime. And it's really a very brave move, because you have to leave everything you know, everybody you know. You have to take guidance, and you have to trust. You have to trust that the people that run programs like this are really just focused on what's in your best interest.
When this happened, we're a very accomplished professional person. What do you tell other people about your substance abuse disorder?
What I find really helpful is the fact that I was a woman in recovery for a very long time in corporate. I ran large IT departments and call centers, and I was the liaison, like the connector between the C-suite and the programmers, so I sat in the middle. And I worked with people for decades that didn't know I was sober. And I, in 25 years of running large IT, I told 5 people. And that was only because they said something first. They said something that made me believe that they would be a safe person. And today, looking at that, I had to look at, like, why didn't I? You know, there was a lot of opportunity to say, I don't drink, I'm in recovery, but I never did. And I know today it was because I knew that I would be judged differently. I ran departments of mostly men. I needed them to listen to me. I don't know how to say that really cool. But I needed people to value what I was doing. And I didn't think that they would if they knew that I had come out of a gutter in 1991.
Out of the gutter and on a path that changed her whole world in one day.
In 2017, I had a dream completely out of the blue about this newsletter that I had been a typesetter for. So I called Journey, and it was a newspaper that was done once a month, and it was really about the resources in town, where the AA meetings were, and talking about therapies and different modalities. And in 2017, I had a dream, and all I remember is the banner and the publisher's face, Bobby Hall, and And I thought that was weird. And when I woke up and told my husband, well, that was weird. And I reached out to Facebook Land and asked some old timers about Journey, and somebody had a couple of copies. And I don't know if I knew it. I know I didn't know it then, but it really planted a seed, because his mission with the newsletter back in the day was to get a message out to people who were struggling. Like, here's where you can find help. And he was just a guy, you know, who couldn't afford CBS or Press Herald, or right, so he wasn't a journalist. So he was just a guy doing what he could with what he had. And then from that the seed was planted. And then I was asked to join a board for Portland Recovery Community Center, where I learned that there were other recovery programs, which I had no idea. As a woman, I'd been sober for 26 years, 27 years, and I found my solution, and I didn't need to keep looking. And I had no idea that there were other recovery programs.
Right, because you wallowed for many years before you found your recovery program.
Yes, and women that I worked with in my recovery program that didn't make it. I would have, if I had known, I would have said, try every one of them. Go down the list, I'll take you. Even if my path isn't your path, you deserve to live and to find your people. Let's try them, all of them. I just didn't know. I just didn't know. And it broke my heart that more people don't know that there are so many resources and so many programs out there, and that people are needlessly dying because of the lack of visibility of those programs.
That's why this magazine and its mission is so important to Carolyn. She wants as many stories of hope shared with as many people as possible. She's got quite a team already helping her do just that.
We had so many people just wanting to help, like make sure the magazine gets into their city, make sure it gets into their coffee shops, make sure it gets into the hands of their neighbor. So Journey's been joined by dozens of other humans just really wanting to help. So today we have 2 full-timers, Nikki Curtis, Brenda Briggs, and a part-timer, Peter Rosasco, and Joanna Free, who helps with editorial. So now there's a core group of people, but we also have strategic partners.
So Carolyn actually is one of the first women that I met in recovery. I remember my very first meeting. Her and her husband were at a meeting, and I met her, and I remember hearing her share and thinking she was like a woman full of dignity and grace, and had this presence about her, this gentleness, but also like strength and ability to communicate very well what she wanted. So along the path of my own recovery, I was continuously put in her path along the way. And at a really dark spot in my own recovery, she's just been this mentor and shaper in my life. And we started at that point. She offered me space to talk to her every day, to give her a call every day for support. And that's what I did, every day for about a year. So our bond was solid. We could talk about life, and we could, be women in recovery together. So when she called me about the magazine, I was like, absolutely, this is the most amazing idea. And her vision for what we're doing and where we're going is actually pretty remarkable. And I've never doubted her. There's just something when she is expressing that vision and able to articulate it that is truly that it's right, and you want to be on board, and you just want to be part of. So that positivity. And then the other side of it is it's not always easy in this journey that we've been on with the magazine and stuff like that. And for me, she's the example of how to really work your program through all the ups and downs of life, through all the difficulties, through all the mistakes, the honesty and sharing, the integrity and vulnerability that we really need as humans to be positioned in a way to evolve and to grow and to help others.
Through their efforts to support Maine entrepreneurs who are growing our economy, Greenlight Maine is making our state a better place to start and operate a business. For these efforts and the creation of a robust entrepreneurial ecosystem, the Harold Alfond Institute for Business Innovation at Thomas College is proud to be a sponsor of Greenlight Maine.
I first got the idea to create a magazine, I reached out into a women's networking group, and I met a woman named Heather Chandler. And Heather, I always say my friend Heather was eco-cool before eco was cool. She's been running the Sunrise Guide for 15 years. Like, she knows this industry. So I brought her to lunch and told her about my idea, and we've been friends ever since. She was really helpful at every stage. She took phone calls where I was crying. Like, she just shared her experience and gave me her opinion on everything, and just really, really kind. Stepping into this industry that I had no experience with.
Carolyn is changing lives every day with this magazine. I think that she has really contributed a lot to the conversation about taking recovery out of the shadows and making it visible. I mean, that's her whole thing, is making recovery visible and promoting hope through the magazine, and she has absolutely done that. I think the lives that she has changed we'll never know all the people that she's touched, but it's really incredible, and I think that she's helped to move that conversation in a very short period of time, and she just came in at the right time, and I don't know.
Aside from publishing the magazine, Carolyn spends most days doing outreach in her community, becoming an essential voice in Maine.
Carolyn and I just met. I've done a lot of work in the community when it comes to raising awareness about substance use disorder and working on preventive efforts to really try to reduce people from either using or helping people get into treatment and hopefully getting into recovery. And Carolyn's been fantastic with really kind of getting that message out there, and Journey Magazine's done that as well.
Carolyn is on the board of directors for my job, and also she has done so much work for my organization in her spare time, and she just really goes above and beyond for her mission, and it's so important, and it really reflects in the magazine. And without Carolyn, Journey wouldn't exist.
The gutsy thing, nobody thought anybody could start a publication like this and do any more than a couple issues, and I think she's on her 4th year.
I think she's an angel. When I think of her story that she shared with us all tonight, and where she's been and how she has risen up from all of that, what a miracle, into she has a purpose here on earth. Of that I'm confident, and I think this is her purpose.
Recently, Carolyn received national recognition at a ceremony in Washington, D.C., which has motivated her to take this dream to the next level.
So my big girl dream with Journey Magazine is to be a national media company with a print presence and local print presence in states, because I think local recovery stories are so important. Local resources are so important. So I want to be a national media company in order to provide opportunities for professional development for people in early recovery, so that they can learn marketable skills in all the areas that are needed for a media company. Video production, editorial, circulation, all the things. If you think about a media company and just all the opportunities to create a learning environment for people so that they can be part of something really meaningful that means something to them. So that's my big goal with Journey Magazine, and I think this SBA award, so I just won the SBA award for Small Business Person of the Year for the state of Maine, really was just a step in that direction of potential for Journey.
Your family must be so proud.
They are so proud, yes, and it's a little freaky. It's a little like, because I had a quiet little life. Nobody knew I was in recovery, and now everybody knows I'm in recovery, and the message that our futures can be bigger than our past, I know they see that. My kids were 4 and 7 when we were at Macaulay, and our lives changed course forever.
Hey Maine, how are you? Yes, you. How are you really? It's a question we rarely ask ourselves, but to Northern Light Health, how you are means a lot. So ask away. Then connect with us at northernlighthealth.org Maine.gov/howareyou. Maine Technology Institute, offering grants, loans, and equity investments to help support Maine's innovation economy and committed to supporting new ideas with potential to grow. Visit mainetechnology.org.
Albin, Randall, and Bennett, committed to providing accounting solutions to Greenlight Maine startups, working with businesses and organizations that operate locally and nationally. ARBCPA.com.
Like most parents, when Cindy Price became a mother, she set out to create a healthy home for her son. Little did she know her search for an all-natural dryer sheet would lead to a business called Luhu, named after this homemade wool dryer ball.
Well, it started, or at least the idea started when I was pregnant, and we started to look around the house and saw that there are so many toxic chemicals that aren't good for a newborn that was about to join our lives. And so one of the things that we really wanted to do was cloth diaper. And with that, we saw that you couldn't use dryer sheets or fabric softeners. And so getting rid of those chemicals, I looked at what alternatives were out there and really wanted to find something that would still soften clothes instead of leaving them a little stiff and hard. The idea of it was just so interesting to me, and it was interesting that it wasn't well known as well. So something that was fairly new was interesting too. So I think all these little bulbs kept going off with that, just that the couple of companies that were actually making them weren't able to keep their stores stocked. And so just to see that there was a demand that and a supply that those companies couldn't keep up with, it seemed like just a way that we could enter into that market and start small.
So how long before you figure out, how long this is going to take you to perfect until when it actually becomes a business?
Yeah, wow. Well, I would say in 2009 is when I learned about them. And that's how old our son is. And so I went through that testing phase probably late 2009, early 2010. And then once we kind of figured out that this was going to be something that we could actually produce, it was right around the fall that we realized that we could make this a business. And even though I didn't know exactly where it was headed at the time, I learned how to make a website, which 13 years ago it was a little difficult to do. It's much easier nowadays, but made a website and went live.
That's when Cindy's business came alive, where she operates out of her home in Camden. She has a group of people who actually hand make these Luhus.
We have a number of winders in the community that help us make the balls, which is really nice. They actually just pick up and take the wool with them and wind the balls at home. Once they're done, they bring it back and then grab some more wool. And it's just this nice little cycle of people that can kind of do work outside, like little odd jobs that can kind of fit into people's different lifestyles. If they're working early in the morning or late at night, maybe this is something they can do kind of in the middle of the day.
It might seem like a small operation, but it's in constant motion with these winders working at their own pace.
About a minute to wind, yeah. It's just a repetitive thing that you do. It's nice because you can do it at night sitting in front of a TV, or I have other people that listen to audiobooks, sit outside. It's just something a little different, a little meditative that you can kind of do on the side, which is nice.
It sounds very therapeutic.
It is, I think so.
So what is better about the wool versus the chemical dryer sheets?
So the dryer sheets are filled with a lot of toxic chemicals. A lot of the traditional ones have things in them that are not good for your skin and not good for you to inhale and not good for the environment in general. And so these are just such an easy replacement, and all you do is you just toss them into your dryer, and it's the action of the balls against your laundry that will help soften up your clothes. And then also, because you're going to get airflow and circulation instead of those wet lumps of clothes going around over and over again, it breaks it up and creates better airflow, and so you reduce your dry time when you use them as well. So lots of benefits to using this natural product. It's just 100% domestic wool.
Where can people find your products?
Luhu's are found nationwide in about 200 retailers. We're also in Canada too. And on our website, it lists them all. And it's always fun where it's a big variety where you never know if it's going to be a hardware store or a laundromat or a refill shop. There's a lot of variety of people or places and stores that carry our products, which we're always excited, and it's always fun to see who is interested in carrying something like this.
So, this all started because of your son. Tell us about him.
The business started because it was inspired by just wanting to create that healthy home environment for this little baby. And so he's grown with the business as well. For the first few years, I said no to shows and events and things like that because he was so small. And so it was just always a hard balance of, if we're going to be gone for 8 hours, how are we going to, pack up everything that we need for somebody so little? But finally, when he turned about 5, we started to say yes to shows, and so he would come along with us, still does to this day. And usually in the beginning especially, we would have this beautiful table set up of all of our dryer balls and things like that, and Graham is underneath the table, nestled in like usually a sleeping bag and a camp chair. He's got his headphones and maybe a laptop watching a movie, or he's got a stack of Legos that he's playing with. And so that was definitely the early years of Luhu and going to shows. But now he helps out though. He's older now and helps set up and helps sell to customers. It's always fun, and I think even with people, when they realize that he's a part of the business as well, I think it's a really special thing.
Cindy recently sold her Luhus at an Earth Day event at LL Bean in Freeport, one of the many retailers Cindy partners with and shares the same mission. Let's talk a little bit about GoGo Refill. All of these stores are popping up everywhere, and this is a movement, right?
It is. It really is. And honestly, I'm giddy whenever I get to go down there. I love it. You bring all your empty containers and you can go and fill up those dish soaps and laundry things, just anything you can imagine, lotions, bubble bath, just everything, where you don't have to purchase these containers over and over that just head into the recycling and who knows where they go to afterwards. And so it's just really in line with what we're all about in the sustainable lifestyle, and just being able to just be a little gentler on the earth with places and stores like that.
So before I opened GoGo, I did tons of research, and I found Luhu pretty early on in my research and was so delighted to find out that they were a Maine-based company. So when we opened, Luhu was here.
Any advice that you would give other startups?
I would definitely say to surround yourself with wonderful people. You really, really need to build a team. Even if you can't pay people at first, there's going to be other business owners that will be there to help you and support you. And it's so important because as an entrepreneur, you're isolated. And there's always so many times where you're on your own, and so you really do want just other people there to be your cheerleaders, to kind of just say that, to keep going and to run challenges by and just be a sounding board. It's so important just to have a variety of people surrounding you on a regular basis, just to keep you going.
I know Nancy Stroney from SCORE is a huge supporter of yours.
Nancy is terrific, and I think it was maybe about 3 or 4 years in is when we connected. It was at a luncheon, and it was so great. They actually paired mentors with a lot of startup entrepreneurs, and so we were sitting beside one another and got to talking and met, and after that we started to meet on a regular basis, and a lot of times it was a phone call, but sometimes I would head down to Portland to meet her. But it was just, she's incredible.
So working with Cindy has been an absolute delight. When I first met Cindy, she was enthusiastic and ready to chase her dream. But then there's the really hard work of figuring out how you're going to get there. And I really enjoyed my time with Cindy. We worked on things like finding the right channel for her products and pricing her products early on. Now, we fast forward to 13 years later, and she's still in business, and she's got lots of retail outlets. She's got a serious online business, and who knows what the future will hold for Cindy. It's just a great product, and she's a good entrepreneur.
First Park, a 285-acre business park located in Oakland, Maine, offering fiber internet, 3-phase power, and pre-permitted sites for businesses to start or expand. Details at firstpark.com.
FAME came along at a time when we really needed somebody to believe in our mission.
It's so nice to have somebody actually try to understand what we're doing.
FAME helps Maine businesses and lenders get to yes for their financing needs.
Thank you, FAME.
Thank you, FAME.
Thank you, FAME.
Bangor Savings Bank, committed to investing in its employees, customers, and communities to help create a stronger Northern New England. Bangor Savings Bank. You matter more.